Ah, Route 66. Every photographer's dream. You know, I knew Route 66 was long. I just had no idea it went all the way to Spain.
I can't believe I'm going to Spain. I am on my way right now to Los Angeles International Airport, and I'll be honest, Spain has not been on my radar at all up until about 2 months ago when this project fell in my lap. I am going out to the southern region of Spain known as Andalucía. At least to a Yankee like me, to the locals, it's known as Andalucía. And I, along with 9 other photographers from all over the world, have been hired to come out to that region to take pictures, explore, make a video, and share this beautiful part of the country with all you fine folks. You know, normally I find air travel montages on YouTube to be a little cliche, so I try to refrain from them. But I land in my destination in about 17 hours. I think I'm about to become a slow motion walking train wreck. And I ain't about to rob you of that. So let's get going.
There stood a man on the edge of his land, and he was wondering where he came from. Well, he pulled me aside and he looked in my eyes. Oh, I trembled from what he spoke. He said he's coming back, but he ain't coming home. Father, please have your mercy on me when you find out what I have done. Well, my head's in the clouds and my heart just jumped down on a fast plane with its love. So take my life, but please don't take my time.
I brought way too much film. We had to change terminals here in Madrid for our connecting flight, so we had to go through security again. And they were not cool about a hand check. They just kept pointing at the sign. 1600, 1600, 1600 ISO, 1600 ISO. Like I'm going through 4 different x-rays. Can you hand check it? No dice. So that's once through the x-rays. Hopefully that's the only time on this trip.
Nope, it wasn't. All of my film ended up going through 2 more x-ray machines because they were not cool on the way home either. But good news, I found no discernible damage in any of my film, ISO 160 and 400.
So this funny thing happened in the NHL where the goaltenders all seem to realize at some point that there's no hard, fast rules on how big their pads can be. And you know, being a hockey goaltender, you want the biggest pads possible to increase your save percentage. And so they just started incrementally increasing their pad size year after year, which is hilarious because of how they looked. But it's also funny because it worked. So goals per game dropped way down. But the really funny part about it is the NHL eventually had to step in and implement some rules taking the pads back down. Which means there were some executives at the National Hockey League offices, probably some glass building in their glass conference room talking about this. You know, like the first year. One guy piped up, "Hey, did you guys see Hellebuck last night? His pads look a little big to you?" And the next year, pads are a little bit bigger. "I really think we need to talk about these pads, guys. They're getting kind of big." "Yeah, well, we're not breaking any rules, so what can you do?" And then there had to be one year where the guy finally just threw up his hands like, "Did you see Bobrovsky last night? Looked like he had a couple of twin mattresses strapped to his legs. His arm block was a full sheet of 3/4 ply. It's getting ridiculous. So then they had to implement the rules and bring him back down. Now, what the hell does this have to do with me? I kind of feel like both the hockey goaltenders and the NHL executives. My stuff just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I traded in my GA 645ZI for a Texas Leica. I got 2 large format cameras with me. My luggage is huge. If I switch up to 8x10 or something, I'm gonna have to throw up my own hands and be like, all right, we gotta do something about this. Camera's getting too big, the hat's too big. We gotta reel this in. That'll be the day I trade all my gear in for a Leica and an orange beanie. God.
Need a gas station on the way to that punchline. Thanks for sticking with me. Anyway, just a packed hour and 15-minute flight later, I was picked up at the airport in Malaga to be taken to the hotel. And what did I learn in the first 17 hours of this trip? Well, traveling across the globe with a bunch of film and large format gear is a pain in the ass, but not impossible. I'd actually say the worst part was the regular spikes of anxiety I got every time I went through security or boarded a plane, worrying they would destroy my film or deny my carry-on bag. Luckily, all that anxiety was for naught.
Vandalay Industries, importer-exporter of latex and latex-related goods. That's on there because nothing screams expensive camera gear inside like a Pelican case. I'm hoping that'll throw some people off. But there was a lock on here that is now missing. So maybe it didn't work. I'm really worried I'm going to open this up and my precious cameras are going to be missing. All right. Looks like it's all there. Did my Texas Leica survive? I hated putting it under the plane.
This Pelican case did a bang-up job, pun intended, of protecting my gear. But I suppose worrying about my cameras getting stolen has a certain understated stupidity. I mean, who's going to open this case and say, jackpot! A wooden camera! I guess I won't bother replacing that TSA lock. Okay, so in a couple hours, there is a dinner coordinated for all the photographers who are a part of this project. That dinner is at 8:30 because we're in Spain, and that's when they eat dinner. But I've had all of 3 hours of sleep over the past 24. I'm a little bit whipped, but I'm gonna muster up the energy to go attend that dinner because I'm looking forward to meeting everyone. But in just a couple days, we're gonna get to the fun stuff. Heading out and exploring this beautiful region of Spain and start burning through rolls of film. So today was kind of nuts. This morning they had all the photographers come down to the lobby at 8:30 in the morning. We all hopped into a bunch of vans. They took us off to someplace we didn't know we were going to. And it's like this automotive museum. And we walked inside and there's like all these crazy displays with each one of our faces on it. Videos playing of little clips from our YouTube channels and pictures and stuff. It was a murderer's row of YouTube photographers. It was a much bigger production than I think any of us expected. And then there was a seating area with a stage, and we realized we're going to be going up on stage to speak to the press corps. I didn't know there was going to be a press briefing on all this, but we all went up there, fumbled our way through some questions. Spanish was flying all over the place. Couldn't understand half of what was going on, but made our way through it. So that's all behind us. And then we had to go back to the hotel. Got my headshot, which is nice because I need a headshot, but not really used to being in front of the camera like that. More interviews, and then now we're finally done. So we're gonna be heading off to our first destination here, about an hour and a half, switching hotels, and then tomorrow
We'll be going out and taking pictures for the first time. Going to Andalucía. That's where we're going. I really hope the weather is a lot better than it is today.
After the chaotic morning festivities, I was lucky enough to get lunch with the great Tom Heaton. I quickly found out we get along swimmingly, and that we apparently have the same taste in jackets. How embarrassing. So with some time to kill, I decided to walk around Malaga a bit and make my videographer, Cray, get some B-roll of me pretending like I don't know I'm on camera. It had been such a whirlwind since we left California that this was really the first free moment I'd had to explore anything. Despite the ugly weather and my single city block area of exploration, I found Malaga to be both charming and beautiful. So much so that I decided I just had to get a quick shot before we leave.
So I was walking around Malaga here with my latte and saw a building I just needed to photograph. But before I show you what I'm taking a picture of, just bear in mind that I have been hired by the tourism board to photograph the beauty of this region and share it with all you fine folks. And this is what I chose to photograph. I warned them. I really did. Oh, I'm excited about this shot. I think they're gonna hate it though. But you know, I bet a lot of people see an ugly building here, but I see a beautiful building. I see a building that was once majestic with excellent architectural lines that will probably someday soon once again be majestic. But I like seeing it in this intermediate phase. Graffiti and all, actually. Tells the story of all the people this building has interacted with. It's a Portra 160. Super overcast, and I'm going to be using a center ND filter, which holds back 1 1/3 stop. I'll lower my ISO 1 1/3. Cool. All right, it's going to be f/29 at 4 seconds, which becomes 8 seconds, I believe. Reciprocity, Portra, 4 seconds, 6 seconds. Good thing I checked. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah. They probably won't be putting this shot on the cover of the book. But I wasn't just blowing smoke when I said this building is beautiful in my eyes. This is a prime example of an architectural style known as brutalism. A style I happen to be quite fond of. Because much like the deserts I love to photograph, brutalist buildings exhibit a ruggedness and harshness that the average person may find off-putting at first. But also like the desert, all it takes is a little time in its presence to appreciate its grandeur. Judging by the scaffolding and netting around the upper levels, I suspect this building is in the midst of renovations, and hopefully not demolition. So perhaps the people of this fine city also see the beauty in it. Cray and I were trying to figure out what this symbol on the building meant, and our driver later enlightened us. It's the logo for Correos. Correos means mail. So this building was home to the Spanish Postal Service at some point. And somehow, that makes me love the photo even more.
I wasn't kidding when I said I warned them. My wife actually told me, stop talking them out of hiring you. But they told me multiple times I have full creative freedom. So I'm going to take them at their word on that. But tomorrow I should probably focus on taking some prettier pictures.
It was dark by the time we reached Andalucía, and raining. Sorry for the stupid vertical video. I wasn't planning on telling you about this part, but then we got dinner at this cozy little restaurant. Holy hell was the food good! Beef, pork, potatoes is my kind of eats. And we had a dish called timbal de alcachofas con jamón, which was easily one of the best things I've ever eaten. It was so damn good. That's all I have to show for it. It's a nice way to end the day, because the real work would begin tomorrow.
We'll walk up onto this hill over here. Got an incredible view of the town of Andalucía. The castle up on the right. It's a little postcardy, so I'm generally not crazy about taking pictures like that, but the view is too good to pass up. So let's see if we can get a 6x17. At least it's got some nice moody weather. As an American, it's insane to me that people live here. Like, you live in a postcard, basically. Like, I go on a morning run past a Jimmy John's. They're going on a morning run past a postcard. Yeah, it's a pretty decent view. Jesus. Dude, this is nuts. I can't believe I'm here. Some splashes of light popping through as the clouds are breaking, so I'm gonna try and time this perfectly so I get the splashes of light where I want them. Means we might be waiting for a little bit. This may not be a shitty laundromat, but I'm really excited to be shooting this. Oh man, this is so freaking gorgeous. No easier scene to focus on. Pretty much everything's at infinity. But one thing I'm going to do, I've never done before, is I'm going to use the center ND filter on my 115 millimeter. Allegedly, according to some guy on a forum, this works pretty well on this lens. And I would like to have 0 light fall off at the edges on this one. All right. And now we wait. Want the sunlight just right. Yeah, light's not ideal yet, but we'll get a quick one. Just because I always feel a little better when I have one exposure in the can. Look at that. Where are we? We're in a fairy tale, man. This is ridiculous. I could live here. I think I could live here. Well, maybe it gets super old after like a year. It's just another white box, another chiming bell, another 1,000-year-old church. F22 at 1/15. All right. We got one in the bag.
All right. Not bad. Not bad. It has a certain moodiness to it, but I needed a little more from the light on this one.
I think the light might break through in just a sec, so make sure I'm ready for it. Mountain's starting to break out there. That's cool. Look at that.
The clouds kept teasing me. I don't know. We might break. Here it comes. Never mind. Here's some more clouds for you. Those rascals.
I like it over here. I just want to get a little bit over here. Give me a little more. I think I may have missed my opportunity. So should we get, oh, here we go. Sunlight. There we go. Now we're getting lucky. It's right on the buildings in the foreground. I'd like it to be a little further back, but let's do it. All right.
That's the good stuff. A little splash of light streaming across the foreground. That's the pop it needed. You may notice the sky looks quite a bit darker on this second frame. That's because the brighter light on the foreground necessitated a shorter exposure, and since the light levels in those distant clouds hadn't really changed since the first shot, they ended up looking darker. Now I do really like this version, but I felt I could do a little better. The attention gets sucked right into the foreground here because of that light. I wanted the viewer's eye to be drawn more into the background of the scene.
I can feel it on my back. Just move out a little bit. And it's breaking through back there. That's more modern. I'd like that to be in shadow. Ooh, look at the castle. I'd love it if it was on that little church. Yeah, we're basically there. Yeah, here we go. Right on the church there, right on the castle. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, indeed. My final frame from this roll, and the light came out exactly how I wanted. Of course, the most obvious improvement is the spotlight on the castle, but I also really wanted some illumination in that middle ground area, particularly on the gorgeous steeple rising above the town. The clouds kindly obliged. And on top of all that, there was the slightest bit of diffusion on the rest of the light, which put a lovely soft blanket of mild illumination across the middle ground and background. All of these elements combined to help draw some attention deep into the photo rather than stopping it at the bottom on that first row of houses. This was my second photo of the trip, but my first that I felt I could actually present to my client. I think this frame sufficiently makes up for the graffiti building shot.
All right, I've shot 2 rolls so far on this trip, and that's 2 compositions. Maybe I didn't bring enough film.
My first official day of shooting was starting off strong. Little did I know how rad the rest of the day would be.
This is awesome.
And the day after that.
Oh man, look at this.
And the day after. We barely scratched the surface on this project. More videos coming soon. Relatively soon. Can't wait to show you the rest of it.